than Zoom, right?
Right.
Even though we have to wear our mask, and I don't have on one, so y'all have to excuse me. If y'all get sick, just come and knock on my door, that's all right. All right. All righty. We are here today because our community is in peril. And we are in peril because it is now 5 young people who were involved in the Dadeville birthday party. It's really a massacre because there were 4 people that died and I think it's 32 people who were injured. We have been with the sheriff all morning and half of the afternoon getting an update on what's going on. He is going to come. Jonathan, here's the seat over here, darling. He's going to come and give us an update, and so is the superintendent, at least that's what she said. But we're going to move on. I just got a call from Sheriff Bronson, and he is involved in the last leg of the investigation that is happening today. So he said as soon as he goes through the last interview, he'll be coming over this way. So I am so happy and so proud that you all care enough about this community, Macon County, to come out and let's talk. Let's really talk. Let's really talk. Because it is important, it is imperative, as a matter of fact, that we come together and do what Booker T. Washington and all of our other ancestors did. They came together to resolve the issues. And we got a lot of issues. And guess what? The Bible said, let's pray. But the Bible also said what? Let's work. All of you in this room that I know have a lot on your plate. And now we're talking about adding some more. But it's all within the line of what we do anyway. So I'm going to ask each of you to say who you are, what community you are from, and why you decided to be here in 2 words or less. How about that? Because for you to express everything that we need to talk about, we're going to have what is called a talking stick. This is an African process that we have adopted that allows everybody to say their piece. But when you get too long, I'm going to come and take the stick away from you. So welcome, everybody. We are going to focus on what we need to do to make our community a better place to live. We are in danger, and I got to say this. We are in danger for 2 reasons. One, there are people, thank you, okay. One, there are people that want to take our goodies away from us. They want this county. You know why? We got a lot of trees and a lot of land, and you know there are certain people that don't like to see that kind of thing. They want to see a building there. But we want to maintain our community for our purpose. So that means what? We got to talk about racism, because we live in a community that is part of the culture of racism. And one of the things that we talked about this morning with the sheriff was, it ain't just about our babies who went around the long, wrong way. And they decided to do something that was stupid. And now we are vulnerable for people to say, there they are in Tuskegee. And they want to say we are a bad community in which to live. And we all know that's not true. We all know that's not true. So we're going to have to be proactive in the process of making sure that our community survives in the manner that we want it to, not for somebody else. Do you all understand what I'm saying?
Amen.
Do you all agree with what I'm saying?
Amen.
If you're not, that's okay. You can go on and get out the door, because that's what we're going to talk about today. All right. All right. Let's start over on this side. Oh, my God, yes. Ooh, almost forgot. We got to pray. Reverend John, you promised me that you would lead us in prayer. Please stand.
Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your grace and your mercy. And we thank you, Lord, that you said if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. You said that you would heal from heaven, that you would forgive our sins and you would heal our land. Lord, we stand in need of healing right now. Lord, we ask your presence as we deal with the frustrations of what we face and the challenges that lie in front of us. We ask for your wisdom. Most of all, Lord, we ask that you give us that love that will allow us to lift each other up, that we may be the people that you called us to be. Lord, we know that you are God that specializes in the impossible. And Lord, we just humbly lay our problems at your feet, and we wait to hear you speak, that we may do the things necessary to be the people that you have created us to be. Lord, lead us and guide us. Give us wisdom. We ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to start with the youth of our group. And he's going to tell us who he is and what he does and what neighborhood he represents.
Should I stand, sister?
You can if you like. You don't have to, but you can.
She did too much, they don't understand. Joshua Lewis is my name. My family and I, Tiffany Lewis, and my children, I got a bunch of them. We moved here about a year ago, all right? And so we've been pastoring in Macon County, Minnesota, specifically for the last 5 years. The reason I'm at this meeting is because I am a husband, I'm a father, and I am a human being who loves to see other human beings flourish. And so, and I believe that as much as the solutions, or much as the issues and problems may be here, I believe the solutions are also here, even in this room. And so I'm excited about conversing, about mostly listening, because I do represent somewhat of the youth in this group. I want to hear what wisdom has to say and see what we can contribute together. So it's a joy to be here.
My brother stood, but I'm a sit. I'm Elise Tolbert. I am a citizen of Macon County in Tuskegee. Grew up here, and I love Tuskegee. I love the people here. I want to see it as I see it visually, which is as a prosperous place. And I run an organization called Next Step Up. We provide mentoring and tutoring to high school students. So all of our mentors are Tuskegee University students who do free mentoring and tutoring to the high school students. And my best friend and I started an organization called the Macon County Youth Council to get younger people involved in civic engagement and decision making, and ultimately being our elected officials in Macon County and across the Black Belt. And I also have a background in environmental science and environmental justice.
I'm KG Jones. I'm pastor of Bethel Baptist Church here in Tuskegee. I've lived here going on 35 years now. And I know what this community represented to my folks back home in Washington, D.C. My first introduction to Tuskegee was through my uncle, who was married to Lenora Browning Jones, who was the daughter of Harding Browning, who used to sell vegetables on the square. And as a little boy, I heard that Tuskegee was a great place. My uncle told the story that they got hogs down here as big as Cadillacs. And I thought he was lying, because he did tend to exaggerate the truth, until I came to Tuskegee and found out he was telling the truth. That this is truly a blessed place. This place has blessed people of color around the world. And we have a stewardship. We have a legacy that we have to preserve, that we have to promote, that we have to protect, not for us, but for future generations, for those who will come behind us. And that's why I'm here tonight. discharge that stewardship.
Good evening. My name is Grover Fountain. What do? I stay very busy. I'm on the board of the Tuskegee Area Chamber of Commerce, the board of the Macon County Healthcare Association, president of Harrisburg School, and the financial manager for the Tuskegee area. I'm here because my conscience hasn't changed. My emotions are just running wild. This is something that I think that our youth, that we should listen to, because I think our youth are there. If we don't change, they're going to change us. So let's listen to them tonight. Let's not dictate. Let's not talk at. Let's talk to. And let them be our guide, because this is their lives. Let's ease out of the way and allow them to take this space. This is why I'm here.
Good evening. I'm Jan Fountain, newly elected first female county commissioner for District 4, which covers 12 areas in District 4. We live in Otisota. I serve on the board of directors for the Macon County Tuskegee Public Library, Harrisburg School, part of Chamber of Commerce, community health advisor with the O'Neill Research Center, and I'm just community involved. I love Macon County. I'm not from here, but I have no regrets that we moved here. And we just want to see this community move forward and whatever we can do to make it happen.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to take this down because I don't talk very loud. My name is Sherry Williams. I live in Columbus, but my roots are here in Macon County. So I guess I could say because I am the executive director of the Ridge Project, I understand that I represent that area, South Macon, and I'm here because the events are disturbing, but I want to be here and listen and try to understand and see where, the calling that I have, where it fits in to help.
I'm Larry Williams. I don't think I have anything to say of what I'm doing. I'm retired. But I'm here because I gave my wife. It's Sherry, my wife. We're from Columbus. And to be honest with you, the same thing that you guys are dealing with in Tuskegee is in South Columbus. Our communities have the same issues, some of the same problems. So I'm here to listen. And hopefully we can learn something from that as well.
Good evening. I'm George Parrish. I grew up here. My father brought us here because he wanted to go to school at the Booker T. Washington School and become a student of Dunn George Washington College. So he did that. We've been here just about ever since. So I moved away for about 30 years or so. Then I decided that I wanted to move back home, and I did so. I'm retired from the Department of Agriculture. I do some volunteer work with a number of different agencies. Most of them have to do with agriculture, agribusiness. Work with young folks, basically in community garden type projects. So I do have some exposure to young folks, and I'm happy to see a lot of young people get it back. We certainly need to hear from them because they know what they're closer to this problem than some of us who have been around forever. So thank you very much, and I'm here to learn.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karina Smith. I'm originally from Richmond, Virginia, but I currently live in Auburn, Alabama as a fourth-year student in the Council Psychology program. I'm just here to listen and be in community with everyone. I agree with Dr. Dunn with solving family, and I'm just going to be able to listen and support.
Hello, everyone. My name is Evelyn Hunter. I'm a psychologist in Auburn, Alabama, and I'm an associate professor in counseling psychology. Have some students here with me tonight. When we started working with Macon County, doing research specifically on how racism negatively impacts Black communities and also the strengths in Black communities, we made a commitment to the community that we wouldn't just do our research and hightail it out of here like historical and institutional trauma has happened in Tuskegee. And so we're here honoring that commitment. We intend to honor that commitment. We're here to listen. We're here to offer resources in whatever way that we can. Thank you, Dr. Dunn.
Hi everyone, my name is LaKaylin Washington. I am originally from Birmingham, Alabama. I'm currently a student at Auburn University working under Dr. Hunter. Why am I here? I think I'm here to be of service. I also will say something that I carry with me as a personal quote, which is to always aspire to be a voice for those who are hurt. And so that's something I will continue to carry with me as I may stand in line today.
Hi everybody, my name is Linda Gray Bowles. I'm a Tuskegee native. I grew up in the Greenport community. This is my home church, and I'm here because I think it's never been easy to be a teenager, but I think the kids now have special challenges that I have no concept of. And I want to try to learn where it comes from and how to fix it.
I'm going to stay seated, y'all, because it would take me about an hour to get up from here. But my name is Diane Penny. I grew up here. Went away for a number of years. I retired from Howard University about 6 years ago. Moved back here to take care of my mom. Since then, I have been a member of TM46, as well as the University Community Partnership, where I work on the newspaper that comes out every month. And I just want to say that Tuskegee may have lost a lot over the years, but this shows what we have not lost. We are all here together. We all want the same thing for our community, and it is wonderful to see an intergenerational assembly of people called together on short notice because they care. And that's what makes Tuskegee, Tuskegee. And I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Anthony Williams. I'm pastor of New Pleasant Baptist Church in Shaw, Alabama. Also, we are Helping Hand Food Ministry, where we do good food every week throughout our community. I'm not originally from this area. I'm originally from Barnesville, Georgia, a little small town. But I've been here 38 years. And since I've been in as pastor of New Pleasant, I've had to deal with several incidents of our members' sons being killed, members been taking their lives. And so it has been a burden this week to me. I've talked to close friends to kind of get an idea of where we need to go and not only that, on top of that, some of the young men who was involved have relatives in my church. And so here I am as a pastor asking God for questions and answers. But as I give tonight, I've talked personally with the sheriff, superintendent, and the principal of the high school. This coming Sunday, it's ironic how things fall in place. This coming Sunday, we're hosting Tuskegee University at the church. Dr. Rice, he would be our guest speaker. We have a contest going with the high school. Whoever bring the most peers to the church on Sunday, that class will personally get a picnic paid for by Helping Hand Food Ministry. And so we're looking for that to happen on Sunday. And hopefully from that, something may come out of how we can address our problems. I also shared with the sheriff about some ideas, and when we get to that point, I share with the group as well how we can perhaps take our community back. So at that time, I had that time, I share that. I'm just glad to be here.
Good afternoon. My name is Doretha Hurd, and I'm also a native of Tuskegee. I live in District 4, so I don't know what community that's called, but it's in District 4. But I'm very thankful to Dr. Dunn for calling this group together. I just hate that we are having to come together on an occasion like this. I wish we could have come together for this purpose before something like this happened. But I thank God that we're here, and I'm just here to be of service, and that's what I do. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Frank Lee. I'm a proud native of Tuskegee. I'm proud to be here tonight to be in this historic place because many elements of our community changed right here in this church. And I've been in public service all of my life, former chairman of the commission, and also currently director of the Macon County Emergency Management Agency and the Department of Homeland Security. Get out.
My name is Marion Ford Norman. I was born and raised here in Tuskegee. I left for a number of years. I came back to care for my mom, who's since passed on. It hurts me to my heart that these young folks are as confused and whatever they're feeling. I think that I'm here to be of whatever help I can be to talk to them or help counsel them or whatever. So, you know, I'm happy to see everybody here, and I hope we can get our kids together, and I think we can.
Hello.
Is it my turn? Yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Fannie Johnson Forrester. I'm a native Tuskegean. Started in Washington Public, went all the way through Tuskegee University. This is my home. I have left, as some of the others have said, returned to the native soil to be of help. My degree was in electrical engineering. I've done a whole lot of different things, public service. I've done governmental work. I've had my own business. And I'm back home as an associate minister at St. James A&M Church, my home church, a very small church, but a very impactful church. It is my desire to be of service and to see our town become a city again, because I think it's a town. And I think that a lot of people are still concerned as to whether or not we will survive. If we survive what Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver went through, we'll survive this war. It's a mindset. And my prayer is that we all, if you will, tonight, listen to one another and bring it on home. I grew up in the Lake community, District 2 and all of that, but the main thing is that all of us are so interconnected, I don't see how we can worry about what district we're in now. We're in God's house. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Anthony Lee. I was born here in Tuskegee at the Tuskegee County Airplane Hospital 70-some years ago. And I lived here most of that time, although I ran away from home one time. Then I came back home. And I am here just to be of service in any way I can. I also represent the NAACP, although I'm in several organizations. But we just have to do something to get the attention of these young folks and these old folks to do better for all of us. Thank you.
Amen.
Hi, my name is Iris Ballward. I am a member of the NAACP, and I'm here to do my best, volunteer. I love children. I love black people, all people, and I'm just here to do what I can.
My name is Larry Williams, like the guy over across from there. For me, I'm what we call a Bamagishi. My mother's relatives are from Colorado and all other places down in Alabama. My father's from Louisiana, so most people know that I know me here, know me as Bamagishi guy. I've been here 3 times now. Hopefully this time I can hit a home run with what I know and what I've shared with others. And again, the courtesy of Dr. Dunn invited me down for business, or business personal, because this is still family. Whatever I can do.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Reverend Takeda. I moved here from LA in 2014 to help take care of my mother. I feel like I'm here to stay. I'm serving on the Tuskegee Area Chamber of Commerce on the board of directors. I'm also on the executive board. I also have an organization called Healing House of Peace Place. I'm actually, I live in, not actually in the city, I'm in Little, Texas. But this is important to me because I have discovered that
Well, no.
The white folk. So when these people start killing each other, they're killing their family members. And it's important that they start to recognize that. So whatever I can do within my area of expertise.
Speak up.
Hello everyone, my name is Chanel Wilt, and I'm here along with my colleagues, members of Twitter. I'm actually originally from New York, and I'm here as a Hartford student, now living in Auburn. And now this is becoming part of my community, and one of the things that's really important to me is, like you said earlier, like making sure that people can flourish and actually listening to be a part of that process that really reach out to.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gabrielle Brown. I am a graduate student at Auburn University, born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm just here to be a part of the conversation, to be of service to everyone here. And I thank you for having me today.
Hello, everyone. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. My name is Jamia McDade. I am from Macon County. My family is originally from Florida, and we migrated to Tuskegee, and I've been here my entire life. So I'm just here to be able to help in whatever capacity that I know how. Because being a part of the youth, I have seen a lot of things and been in different areas, from whether it's in Florida or whether it's in Tuskegee, and we have to come together at some point, because I've been in a position where we have been separate and we all from the same community. So I just want to be of service in whatever capacity that I can, because we are stronger together than we are separate. We have enough people fighting against us separately for us to be trying to be separate ourselves within our own community. So, thank you.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Audra Brothers. I am here via the Joseph Blackmore Super Center Blessings. I am the farm operations manager at Shady Grove Road Blueberry Patch. I also work with farmers. I did work with the USDA for about 13 years. I am a Tuskegee graduate. I left, went to go to work like I was supposed to do when graduating from college. Came back, I've been here for about 1.5 years. I've worked with some of the community members here as much as my energy can do. I'm a mother to an 8-year-old. I'm here with my husband. He's a truck driver. And also I'm a substitute teacher, so I just wanted to volunteer, but they asked. So I've been with the children. I see how they do mistreat each other as elementary school children. So I can only imagine middle school and high school. I do plan to raise my child here, so I do want to be very involved with children. I also work with students at Minnesota High School as well. So I just want to continue to be a mentor to our children. They do listen, but I know we, as a group, as a community, they'll continue to listen. I just want to continue to be a mentor to our babies and be as helpful as I can.
My name is Jonathan Davis. Why am I here? I'm here simply because of the fact that I love this community. I love this county. I currently serve as the chairman of the board at DHR here in the community. I serve on the board at the university, on the social work board at Tuskegee University. I'm also a board member with MCCRR. I currently work with the circuit judges in this county in the criminal court. And my previous background is working in juvenile justice. I've served as chief juvenile officer here in this county. And also I served as the superintendent at Mount Med, the state facility. So my experience has been somewhat extensive in working with delinquent youth.
I don't think you're gonna have to tell me to speak up. I got a built-in microphone, so. But I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Brother Sims. I'm a former pastor, former minister, not former minister, but former pastor. And I'm here, I'm from Birmingham, and I came to Tuskegee by way of marriage to, you guys may know Chaplain Johnny Minley. I married his daughter, and she brought me here, and I fell in love with Tuskegee. But I'm here to offer specific solutions for our communities. I'm here to offer tirelessly my work to help, and part of that helping is to unite people. Before I was a pastor or minister, I was a young person. I got my first gun when I was 12 years old. I shot at my first person when I was 13. I shot up a football game when I was 17. And the Lord said, we got to stop this boy. Because when you grow up in an environment of violence, it's going to be getting. It's going to happen. But as God is my witness, I'm a product of how young people can change.
Amen.
They can change. But we have to offer specific solutions, not for just our children, but for their homes. Nations don't need families. Families need nations. They build nations. Families do that. We build communities. And if we don't have strong communities, you're going to see exactly what we see. Everybody's hurting. Right now, I work as a bereavement coordinator. I'm a grief counselor, and I've organized a nonprofit specifically to help murder victims and their families and to build communities. I know about violence because I lived in it. We know what it takes to stop it. It takes strong families. It takes strong communities. And we have to be no nonsense about it. So if we want to see these things stop, there's only God's going to help us. But we got to put our hands to the work to do it. And we got to be ready to spend our time, our money, and our ability to do that. We can spend money on everything we want to, but we won't spend it on building our communities up. And when I say communities, I mean the infrastructure, which are the people. So I'm going to cut it off right here because the preacher's talked too long anyway. I'm sure I'm going to visit his church and he's going to probably put me to sleep one day. So we're going to see him. Anyway, I'm Brother Sims.
Thank you, Brother Sims. I want to acknowledge the mayor of Shorter, and I'm so excited for her to be here, so let's give her a hand. I'm going to let her speak in a minute, but we got an emergency situation again. And I'm going to have to ask Sheriff Bronson to go ahead and give us an update on what's going on there.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Man, I'm going to tell y'all what's going on, but I just have to say, man, it's been a trying since Saturday night situation that's very unfortunate for our community and the Dadeville community. As you know, we had 4 people shot, killed. 5 are still in critical condition, and I think 28 were wounded. But I know 5 are still in critical condition, and we have 4 people dead. Unfortunately, now we have 6 arrested. That's a lot. And we've been working on it since Saturday night. I talked to y'all this morning, we've gotten 2 more. 4 of those people arrested are from our community. 2 of them lived in Auburn. So, like I say, sad with the situation for our community, but we got to stand up. We got to come together as a community because we are victims too. People don't understand, and everybody looking down on Tuskegee, and everybody saying that we don't know how to raise our kids. You know, they're upset with Tuskegee. They're upset with Macon County. So we got to have a plan. We got to come together, and it's unfortunate that it happened, but we still got to go on. We still got to do what we need to do to raise our kids and make sure that our community is safe, because we don't want to have any retaliation. We don't want to have anything. We got to let everybody know that we're a community that works together. But we got to come up with a plan that we can do so. We talked about today, not only do we have to raise our kids, but we got to raise our parents too.
Yes.
You know, it has gotten out of hand. This is not a job just for law enforcement. This is a job for everybody. We all got to come together and do this. We need the church, we need the family, we need the people, and people seem to think that law enforcement can do this by themselves, but we can't. I know Nobody gonna stand in front of me and commit a crime. 99% of the time, they're gonna commit it when law enforcement is not there. But fortunately, a lot of people see and hear stuff, but they're afraid to share it with law enforcement. And then people say that we can't solve crime. We've had a lot of crime around here, but so has everybody else. It's just the world we living in right now. We have murders everywhere. We have people and these kids with guns that we have to stop. Is it anger management? Is it being raised wrong? I was talking to the FBI yesterday in my office, and he was saying he thinks it's the music. It's not all about the music. You have different things, music, video games, upbringing, poverty, economics bring about a lot about the crime that we have. A lot of these kids don't have anything to do. They sit around and don't have nothing to do, no recreation, nobody at home to, I'm not gonna say love them because I know your parents love your kids, but it's just nothing to do, I say it like that. So we gotta do a better job of getting things, but then again, it's not our fault. We gotta place the crime where it lies. I don't care if I didn't have a mother or father, I'm not going to just kill somebody. So we gotta look at the individual, and we can't make any excuses for them. But everybody come together like this with, when things happen, we try to figure out ways and what happened so we can deal with it, and that's what we have to do. We gotta come up with programs, we gotta do these things, but also we gotta be together when we do it. We shouldn't be, we see so much bickering between us. The kids see that. The kids see the bickering with the parents and the leaders. If the leaders can't get along, what do we think the kids gonna do? So those are things we need to talk about. Those are things we need to have a solution for. I know myself, Frank, my officers are working all day, and I mean, even my wife, we hadn't had any sleep since Saturday, since this thing happened. When I do lay in the bed, I can't sleep because of what has happened. I'm saying, I hope these aren't our kids that did this. But unfortunately, it was. Now, we got to overcome. And we are not going to overcome if we can't get together and do that. I'm sorry, I'm late. I got a lot to say, but I can't even say it now because they're waiting on me now. We're interviewing somebody right now. They just called and say, hey, we need to get back here. So we're still out in the community searching for different things and trying to make sense of what happened. I mean, I just don't see it. But we're trying to make sense of what happened. Y'all got any questions real quick? And I can answer questions if I can. If I can't, then I'll tell you I can't answer.
What can we do to support the Dadeville family? Do we need to do something in Tuskegee to show our love and concern to them?
That's a good question. One thing that I said the other day when asked to do that, I was saying, about school, we went on to school, we had a track meet that next day, like nothing had happened. I know, and I can't say anything bad about that. But my thing was, if we can take a day out, let's take a day out and show mourning for that community. Let them know that we are with them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that was my thought, but they went to school too. But I tried to explain, they're going to school, they're going because they're getting the counseling that day and this stuff, but as a community and a school, that kind of looks bad when they know the people were from here. And so now to do it, I mean, it would be a good gesture. And yesterday, Notice Supper tried to do it. They had a visual, but nobody showed up. And they could have been afraid to show up. I'm not saying that they're going to come in here and do something to us, but we got to think about it. And as the sheriff here, those are things I think about all the time, and things I ask, what if? I'd rather be safe than sorry. I don't know how they're going to feel about that right now, but I know they're upset with Macon County. So that's a good question. Yes.
Sheriff, are you expecting any more arrests?
Possibly.
Because when it first
We
happened...
are looking for something right now, so possibly.
Okay, when it first happened, the Dadeville law enforcement said, we've got 4 people in custody. The community has nothing to fear. The community is safe. Now you're up to 6. So there is a possibility that there may be another perpetrator out there?
So it's hard to say because we're still investigating. They are still investigating, but they're still investigating. I just leave it at that.
Thank you.
I can't say there's gonna be another arrest, but we're still investigating.
Okay.
Okay? And I wouldn't say that you were in any danger, or the community is in any danger. I wouldn't say that. Okay? Yes, sir.
I'm opposed to
Okay. Go ahead and tell them I'm on the way.
I'm opposed to question I posed to you on last night when we had our conversation on the phone.
Yes, sir.
What can we do as pastors? And I shared some ideas which and I shared with the group. But what can we do to partnership with law enforcement?
And as I told you, we need everybody.
Okay.
We talk about mentors, big brothers, and things like that. We had a very good meeting this morning talking about mentoring and partnering with everybody so we can help these kids. Frank, you know, we talked about that this morning. I think we need to do that. We talked about programs. We talked about a whole lot of stuff that I think would happen. I got to say this before I go. You know, I'm working on rapid response, and right now the immediate thing that I'm working on is getting these people behind bars. We don't have everybody. We have prom coming up on a Saturday. We got to do everything we can to keep those kids safe. So that's one of my main concerns. Another concern is to make sure that these kids when school is out, that they can get home, that they can go home for the summer. So we're out at the schools. We want to make sure that we get out of school for the summer with everybody safe. You know, those are my concerns right now. And that's immediate, along with getting these programs together so we can help these kids. It's all about law enforcement, and it's all about the community. And I want to say one more thing. Y'all hold your head high, and don't let people talk about Macon County like we're bad people, because we're not bad people. What happened here is not indicative of what Macon County is all about, and that's what we got to tell people. We can't point fingers at everybody. We in this together, period. And we're going to keep our heads held high and make sure this don't happen again. But y'all also remember that could have happened here in Macon County.
Yeah.
That could have happened here in Macon County. So we got to be conscious of that. And when we talk about, hey, we need, and your guys did a great job today. They went to shorter for us. I laid out a security plan for the whole county, and everybody did. And that's what we have to do. And I don't try to be a butthole, but I am the sheriff. I'm the highest law enforcement officer in this county, so I'm going to make the plan. Okay? Because if anything happened, who is going to follow? Sheriff Andre Brunson. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just because of that, but I love the community, I love the county, and to give you a little knowledge, my best friend, my roommate at Tuskegee University, football player, same name as I got, Maurice Andre Brunson, Maurice Andre Miller. I was number 51, he was number 53. We played linebacker together, we were roommates. He was shot over next to the campus and killed. And from that day forward, I said, I'm going to be in law enforcement. I'm going to be in law enforcement because I don't want nobody to feel the way that I felt that day and to this day. So I'm serious about this. You know, I was lucky enough to fall under Jonathan Davis. You know, he was one of my mentors then. I'm a social worker by trade. I graduated in social work. So I feel for the community. I feel for everybody. I got a great plan. We just got to work together and get it done. I got to go. I'm sorry, I got to go. And I'll see y'all later. I'll be here, and we'll talk again soon, okay? And I'm sorry that I was late, and I'm sorry I got to go, okay? Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, thank you.
I also want to recognize our Judge Cooper. He's going to talk about himself. He's from Georgia, too. But I just want to say this about him. He has gone into that probate judge's office, and he has turned it around and put it on the track of being in 2023 as opposed to 1892. Okay, I'd like to Judge Powell, if she would kindly say some words, and then I'm going to let the rest of you all say, I think we have 1, 2, 3, is just 3 people that have not said anything. Oh, you're going to talk, so I didn't.
Well, good afternoon or good evening. If you don't mind my sitting, I've left a school of children and I am hooked. So we got a message on the husband's phone from Aretha that's hurt. So thank you, saying that Mary Dunn had invited us to the meeting. And I was saying, you know, God works in mysterious ways. What we look at is bad, but what good can we make of this? So the Lord is trying to tell us something. It is one Macon County.
We're stronger together than we can be apart. And so we have to come together. So I dare not be here, miss being here this evening, for people who thought that we should come together and we should do things together. Don't let these young people, some mindless people, think children outthink us. We're college educators and have all these different titles, but it means nothing if we cannot come together and outthink and outdo them, stand in as parents. All of them are not going to have parents. All of them do not go to church. Character ed, some of them don't know where that is. We have to be the one. It takes a village. Yes. That village is us. It takes a village to raise the child. It takes all of Macon County. All of our children are important. We cannot let them see our children grow up and see inequalities here. You go to one school, they're overflowing with things. You go to another school, nothing. Children understand how you treat them. We're teaching them where our values are. We say Black Lives Matter. I don't even know if I want to hear it again. What matters is what we do. Marching, anybody can march. What are we doing when we leave our churches? I was saying, Lord, what else can we do? Evidently somewhere, I'm not talking about anybody else in the room. I'm talking about me. Where am I failing in my community? Where am I failing with my students that's in my community? And when I say my community, I'm talking about Macon County. I graduated from Tuskegee University with a master's degree. So Tuskegee belongs to all of us. Shorter belongs to it's all our history. I guarantee you, if you go back and look, you have history in Tysonville, Shorter, Little Texas, somewhere connects us together. And so I just applaud Mayor Dunn and anyone else who's here, Ms. Lee, Judge Cooper. I'm not going to start calling names. Ms. Johnson, I'm stopping right there. All of the ministers, thank you so much for being here, and hopefully we will leave here and this will not be a last thing that we just came around the circle and we talked but we didn't have a plan. Now I got a plan, but I know we're stronger together. I can work my plan in Shorter. Doesn't mean anything if I can't reach someone in Tuskegee, because as she said, leave Shorter, you go to Tuskegee. Leave Tuskegee, you come to Shorter. Don't let these surrounding counties outdo us. And they are. Yep. And they are because we are not coming together. That's all I got to say. You probably won't have me back. Mr. Powell, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Harold Powell. I also was born here in Macon County some 71 years ago in Dunn Hospital. I worked at Tuskegee University, retired with 45 years of service. I've been in this community all my life except for going other places and doing other things, but I've always ended up right back here. I don't really care to live anywhere else. I'm from North, I didn't like it. When Atlanta, I didn't like it. But I was born and lived in Shorter and Hardaway most all my life. And I'm in Shorter right now. And I'm glad I stayed here. And I'm here to do whatever I can do. Run the service, try to, first of all, try to live the life in front of these people, these young people, that they can see some good in you. It's one thing to talk it, but they don't see you living it. They don't see a reason to try to do it either. So I'm going to try my best to live a life in front of them that they can say, well, there's somebody who has a meaning, or he's trying, or whatever the case may be. So I applaud the coming together. My wife said, she got out of school, that she was thinking about coming out. I made a message to her. I said, okay, let's do it. I had another meeting with me, but I said, let's do it. Get on there, see what's going on, so we can do the help the situation out. So I'm here as Macon County, and I think I'm going to be right here until the call and glory.
Introduce yourself, sir.
Michael Evan Johnson, originally a native from Louisville, Kentucky, a transplant here in '93. It's been interesting. Good evening, everyone. It's been interesting to be here since '93. And looking at and listening to everyone, and what everyone has to say, there's quite a bit that can be done. I'm a social worker. University of Louisville, I went to school with that young gentleman over there who strolled in as he did in advanced standing, but I went in from a military standpoint and basically figured out after getting an MBA that technical solutions to social problems was an approach that I wanted to take. And in looking and being here, the solution here is actually in community organization. And to be real honest with you, in spending a lot of time here and looking at community organization activities, TMCCF is the one that brought us together, and TMCCF has a solution that can bring together a lot of what we're doing, but we're not necessarily listening. The solution I've come up with is one that's economic development. And having spent a lot of time in the military, having spent a lot of time in cities, corporations, looking at designing economic development solutions, we actually have it right here. We've been discussing it right here, but we're not implementing, and that was the reason for asking Mr. Williams to come and going through a lot of changes to bring together some economic development activities. We have it, but we're doing a lot of talking. I spent a lot of money here. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be buried in Louisville, Kentucky, but I'm here. And we need to really get a grip on what needs to be done, because many of you have seen me. You've seen me come with solutions. I have technical solutions and technical solutions here. My doctorate thesis, my doctorate dissertation is parent engagement. I've been analyzing parent engagement and the lack of it for quite a while. We're doing a lot of talking. We're doing very little coming together. We need to really get it together and not just talk about it. We need to come together from the standpoint of TMCCF's been doing a lot in the background. Dr. Dunn brought us together. When I got a call, when we talked about it last night, and I was told, Michael, be there. I'm here. But I'm not here to talk. It's action time. And many of you have seen me come to you with technical solutions, and as I've tried to do what it is, there's quite a bit of money here in the state, federal. I've come to many of us and with ideas, and it didn't go anywhere. So the talking time is really over. It really is over. Our children are crying out for us, and what are we doing? Talking and isolating ourselves in little silos. As an outsider, I'm not going anywhere. We need to really get a grip on it and stop just talking about it. On that note, I'm listening, but I'm acting, and I'm spending a lot of time and energy.
On that note, what I can say is, as being an educator, we need to go into the homes. You can teach them at school, but if you don't know what's going on at home, then you can't help the problem at school. I have gone in the home, and I promise you, it's scary. You gotta take God with you in there. I'm serious. I mean, you have to.
Can you hold
I'm
it? Because
sorry,
you're getting
I'm
ready
just
to go
saying.
into the deep stuff with that one. We need to be able to talk about that, because you're right on the right track. Dr.Lucenia, Shakir.
Thank you, everybody. I'm happy to be here. It's a sad time. Our world is in bad shape. It's happening everywhere, but it's interesting when it knocks on our front doors, it really hits us in a special kind of way. I am Shakir. My folks were originally from Dallas County. They moved to Detroit in the 40s. So I grew up in Detroit. I came to Tuskegee in 2001, so I've been here for about 22 years. I've been very active in those 22 years. I've been about community organizing and assisting with deliberative dialogues and a number of other activities with M46 and my good friend over here, Norma Jackson. So I am definitely somebody that has spent a whole lifetime, being concerned about us as a people, and I think that a lot of our problems stem from us not truly knowing who we are or living out of our true values. We've gotten completely caught up in a Eurocentric, capitalistic way of living that is not who we are. Like if we could do like how our grandparents did, we would be in much better shape, where we looked after each other. We built each other's houses, right? And we slaughtered animals and shared the food, So this thing about cooperating and getting back to the beautiful people as the original people. We are the first people, the first mothers and the first fathers of all of the people. So we have fallen from grace, but now it's time for us to get up. And I really, really hope that this will be the moment that we can truly come together and come up with solutions, to what our problems are. I'm very serious, I'm very committed, and I've done this. I just can't help it, I'm just born like that. So isn't there a song called When the Rocks Cry Out? Oh my God. Yeah, so the rocks are crying out. The children, and as adults, we're responsible. And all of us have to take some responsibility in that. So thank you, Lucenia.
You're quite welcome. Guy is the last one, I believe. Oh my God, Judge Cooper. Guy, and then Judge Cooper, and Judge Cooper's the last.
Yeah, his name is Guy Trownell. I was born in Macon County, raised in Macon County, educated in Macon County, and now get a chance to hang out with these incredible people in the circle. Everyone, say so much about everyone here. And within less than a decade, our Macon County will be 200 years old. And I'm saying it's in our hands. So just like Brother over here said, it's not action.
Judge?
Unfortunately, it's taken this to bring us together. What's important in all of this is that we have to be plain, be strategize, but reach a point where we have to be willing to agree upon where we're going to go and then put in the work. I believe in putting in the work. I don't talk a whole lot. I just believe in putting in the work once we have a plan. I arrived here when I was 17. I've been here for a number of years on the campus and now downtown, the courthouse. I believe and I know that solutions are here. We just have to be willing to put in the work and realize that all of us together, and that's the key word, all of us together, can change our county. I believe in Macon County, but we all believe in Macon County. But now, instead of just, as Brother Johnson said, talking about it, we have to put in the work, whatever it costs to put in that work in our homes, in our communities, in our schools, in our neighborhoods, in our churches. We all have to come together because we all have skill sets, monies, energies, the resources to put in the work to grow our community and to build it. And to also remember, we must tell our own story and not allow someone else to tell our story. I'm a student of history, so I believe in documenting. You see me with a camera all the time, I'm actually documenting. I believe in that because we have to tell our own story. So let's just put in the work. Let's get a plan and get the work and get going. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. I want to introduce the representative of the city of Tuskegee, Norma Jackson, who is the only woman serving on the city council, and probably one of the few that has any good sense.
So good evening, everybody. I am a native of Tuskegee, Alabama, born in John Andrew High School in 1953. Educated here, married here, raised my family here, taught in the public school system for 25 years, and then went and worked another 15 years in Lee County at Lee County Youth Development Center with young people who were caught up in what we call the juvenile justice system. What I know is that
we have the power within ourselves to create the kind of conditions that will raise children. I want to echo what my sister said. One of the things that we have to do, and I'm going to quote Marimba Ani, if you know who she is, she's a brilliant scholar, was a student of Dr. John Henry Clark.
From Bullock County.
Who was from Bullock County, my parents' home county. My dad's 99th birthday up there. Marimba Ani said that culture is to a people what the immune system is to the human body. And I want you to think about that really deeply. And think about what it means to be cut off from your culture and everything that makes you who you are. And that's what has happened to our children. That's what has happened to generations of us. And so what I'm suggesting is that we put our heads together and think about ways that we can inculcate our children with a sense of who they are historically, culturally, and give them the roots that they need. Think about a tree without roots. If you're not grounded in something that makes sense to you, you do all kind of madness, and that's what has happened to our young people. It's not their fault. We have not served them well. The other thing I want us to remember in telling our story, Judge Cooper, is that the finger pointing about, where were the parents? You've got 3 generations of parents now who have been impacted by things that we didn't take into consideration. Like the crack cocaine epidemic that decimated Black communities all over this country. So what happened the other day is not germane just to Tuskegee. It is happening everywhere you see us because the same conditions, the same policies that were put in place. Bill Clinton, as much as we love him, his 3 strikes law locked up daddies for decades. So the children were just left out there. And what I'm saying to us is we have to, if it means Saturday programs, Saturday school, like the Jewish folks send their children to school on Saturday to teach them who they are. We have to be willing to do that. After school, whatever we need to do, let's buckle down, let's do it. And I am here for the long haul, and I'll be 70 years old this year. I was not intended to be in politics. I promised myself I wasn't going to never do that, and here I am. But we have to give our children the kind of guardrails to help them to get back in order. And let's remember that the children that they are arresting are children. They're 16, 17 years old. Let's not let the media demonize these young people. What they did was horrible. They will be held accountable. But let's not let the media demonize them. So I'm done. I'm really emotional about this because I feel like these are our children. They are. And we are responsible for what happens to our children.
Okay, thank you so very much. We're going to spend the next half an hour. It's now 8:15, and it will be 8:45. We'll get out of here. And I hope y'all not worried about time, because this is the time for us to do what we got to do. It was important that we know who is in the room. And I am so proud of everybody here, because everybody has something to offer this whole process. The one thing that came out of the community partners, where we documented over 300,000 volunteer hours. People work during the week and they report on Saturday. And it's been an amazing process, and I'm hopeful that you all will join that group. We don't get paid, but we work hard, and the payoff has been that because of the community partners, we have saved the Macon County community. Because when you think about the fact that we have 18,000 people, and when COVID hit, it wiped out millions of folk. And we are here right now in this room, alive and well. So I'm going to start off with Miss Jamil, because she's getting ready to throw some spears at me, because she's ready to talk. She is a solution person, so go ahead.
I don't think I'm going to be much of a solution tonight. I just wanted to speak because not only am
I'm from Macon County. I think I'm the only one in this room that has been taught by Glenn Powell. Seventh grade math. So to sit here almost 40 and to be taught by her and to know that it's a village that raises a community, and that's true because guess what? We got in trouble, she spanked us in the class. In class. And if she calls your parents, you got another one when they got there. So she was our mother when our mothers were at work. If she told us to put something up or don't do that, we didn't buck up at her. We didn't fight back up at her. She had a couple of kids that didn't want with us and they tried to put folders in their pants. And she was not afraid to say, that sounds like a folder, take it out. She knew it games. So she helped raise us while we were there with her. So we didn't just get in the classroom and then you go on and do whatever you want to do and all this other stuff. We had parents in the school and we had parents in the home. And so she guided us as far as she could. And every teacher on that hallway was Outland, all of them. You didn't do your cursive writing, you get popped on the nose. It was like, we literally had parents at school. We didn't have them to tell us, we got ours, you gotta get yours. Now, when I got up in high school, the culture changed. It was, we got ours, you gotta get yours. And it was a difference. And when I said what I said earlier about the separation, when they found out where you were from, you were treated differently. Nobody wanted to talk about that elephant in the room. You go in Booker T. Washington, Shorty standing on that side, Tuskegee standing on that side. We from the same community. And when you get off the bus, you knew what side of the school that you were standing on. I lived that era all the way up to 2003. Let them find out who your family is, what your last name was. You were neglected resources. That's facts from your counselors and people that were supposed to be there to take care of you. A lot of us sat in there in class night and were like, they had that program, what that program was. No, they didn't tell you nothing because I don't know your people. So everything that we got, we fought for. And the division came because shorty, y'all treated that po-fo. Tuskegee, that's what you want to be, that's better. That was just as bad as a white person treating you bad. Worse. And so those are the conditions that we had to grow up in our school, and they fought all the time. That was fights all the time. All the time because people was trying to get territories, and these are a lot of things that a lot of people, a lot of young kids don't want to speak about in their own schools. I know because I was a part of it. I went to just about every school in Macon County except for North Suburb in South Macon. But there was a true division amongst our own people. They bullied you bad when they found out where you were from. And shorter that is a rural area, more rural than Tuskegee. If the bus picked you up and you had a pastor behind your house, you pick on. Yeah, you pick on. Oh, it's cows out there. Oh, you got this. Oh, y'all out here still living in slavery. They pick on you bad. Seriously. They ain't got no running water. They ain't got this. They picked on you very badly when you were from that area. So guess what they do? They make them angry. No, I don't talk to them. What I'm talking to them for? So we have developed that culture amongst ourselves with our own kids. And the older people, once we got to Booker T. Washington, they were no better. And you try to be respectful because they're your elders, but they were no better. They was not helping you if they did not know your people, or where you were from, or what you was doing. They talked to you any kind of way, and they still expect kids retaliate.
So we need to address the culture that the school.
It's the culture.
We need to change the
You
culture.
literally, I had a teacher, rest her soul,
That's
looked at me down and when you get in her class, she said, "You think you could punch?" I don't know you. Why would you walk up to me and say that? I'm a child. So it stems from from some of our educators that's there that we're sent there to. It stems from not having the love in the home. And nowadays you got plant workers that's 6 to 6. Ain't nobody at home when these kids get at home. Ain't nobody checking no book bags. They already gone. They gone when they get up and they gone when they gone when they come home from work. So kids raise themselves nowadays because they work in 12-hour shifts. So we have to, I'm not here to talk about the solutions tonight. I was just here to mention what problems was because those are some of the things that I faced growing up in the community and growing up in each one of the schools. Now, until I got to Booker T. Washington, it was parents, pretty much teachers, parents, and they guide you and they cultivated you and they helped you. When you got to that high school, it was a different ball game.
Thank you. Solution. Maybe, and thank you, y'all clap. Talk.
Yes.
Solution. Maybe we need to say to the superintendent, you need to retrain the teachers. I have worked with school systems where we did that, where you say it's a process. I remember that a young teacher was in the room and the kids were going crazy. They were all over, they were disrespectful and everything else. So we videotaped that teacher. We took her in the room and let her see what was happening. Every 2 minutes, she was looking at her watch. Every 2 minutes. And you know what that communicated to the kids? That she didn't care. So we had to let her understand what her behavior was and how it impacted the students. I am suggesting that one of the solutions that we need to deal with is retraining our teachers and training those teachers within the values and culture that we are trying to promote. What's the next person that wants to talk? You do.
Oh, yes, and also we need to have teachers that are from Macon County and not from outside of Macon County who don't care for our children in our community, especially if they don't live here. So they need to live here so they can be a part of the community with our children. Oh, but I wanted to say with the helping, we need to start going into the homes and not criticizing the parents, but helping them see what they need to be successful in as being parents. Because we did have the No Child Left Behind that left a lot of people behind. And that's what we're dealing with, about 2-3 years of parents who didn't graduate, who are struggling, and they're trying to raise children and they need help. And they're out of control. Also with the education in the churches, you was talking about educating them about their culture, Black history. You know what the school system is doing. They can't teach Black history. So we need to have Black history taught at maybe on Saturdays or during Wednesdays. They need Black history. Gates Jr. put on PBS all Black history. They can learn. It's nothing that you have to create. They can teach it. So we need to be proactive on teaching our children, teaching the parents, and we got to just do something about this. Stop the violence. The NAACP is trying to get together with Minister Love and have a Stop the Violence rally, and we really want the children to be a part of it, the young people and the children. Put it together, do signs, have a competition about developing a Stop the Violence sign, have a contest, and let them be a part of it in their feelings about what's going on with this violence. We need to tap into that too.
I just got 1,000 thoughts running through my mind right now. What that young lady said, it didn't just happen that it was just when Booker T. Washington came into existence. Tuskegee's always had a class
I grew up around the lake, and they used to call people like Johnny Ford, and he's much older than I am. I'm 63. The lake snakes. So there's always been some separation and animosity among people. And I'm sure it was even more with the rule coming up to uptown. I was one of those people who didn't think it was a good idea to have Miss Holiday at high school. I was here at that time. I thought it was good to have heroes in each community. And when we combined it, it made it a difference. But neither here nor there, Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, I like to go all the way back to that situation, where they took the school to the people, the mobile school. I tutored for 13 years, starting when I was in college. Math, science, and English, before there was a STEM. Because I had a professor to say to me on Tuskegee's campus, who was an international person, and I love knowledge from wherever it comes from, so I don't care if they're from Auburn, Birmingham, Nigeria, whoever. If you can come in and have a love for our people, then you ought to teach our people. Give them a value for who they are. If you value me for who I am, it doesn't matter where you're from. I can learn from you, you can learn from me. But it's about us having evaluation of who and what we are all about. But I had a professor tell me one time that I was studying electrical engineering. He said, "You don't know enough math." And he was very abrupt. And it made me feel so small. He said, "You'll never get this." I went straight to the math department, almost with tears in my eyes, to Dr. Wendell, who's the head of the math department, and said, "I need to start tutoring kids in high school and younger." You know why? Because then I was going to reinforce my own learning and help some others. The best way to rise is to bring some force with you. I can hit you with my open hand, or I can hit you with my fist. And I redid that thing over and over for 13 years. I had graduated from college, and even now I tutor a little bit. At 63, I was at Tuskegee Public today. Yeah, I run a COVID program for 4 counties. That's not important. What's important is that when I meet you, I try to understand who you are and what it is that you want to do and what your value is. I assume that you're a good person until you show me that you're not. And so in this county, if those things could be instilled in me, I was a lake snake. I was a kid from the other side of town. I was an attendant to Miss Tuskegee, and one of the young men said to me, Frank can tell you because it was 40 years ago, he used to take our pictures, and Cooper remembered it, Judge Cooper. We were classmates. Someone said to me, 8-8 or 8-3. Do you know what that means? 8-8 or 8-3.
Oh,
Because he didn't know it. I was 8-3. We got even more zip codes now. But that was a division type thing then. So it was like, what did I care what he thought? Because I had been off to Newport, Rhode Island, and I was no longer part of this system. I had done internships, worked in the oil field and all these other places. Got caught up, didn't graduate on time, but I graduated. So sometimes people will put a label on you because of what they believe you will allow them to stick. But it didn't stick. Just like that professor said, you won't know, man, if you don't get this in thought. There are young people here today in this community that I tutor, and I could call names. They're educators, they're lawyers, they're running the Chamber of Commerce. Some of those people in the 6th grade, because one man said to me what I could not know. No, my parents were not those people.
That's so sad.
Mayor Powell, her sister is an educator. She'll say no, she's a business person, but she's on the Board of Education in Ohio, because she married my brother. Okay. I got family all over the county. I tell people, they say, where you from? I'm from Tuskegee. What kind of place is that? So to come back home and it's kind of a little dusty, we're gonna take the rust off this gas. Yeah, make it sharp again.
Now, we're going to, let me help you, and we also need counseling in the schools. The children need counseling.
I give it to Evelyn, because you just mentioned something that she can.
Counseling, they don't have any counselors.
Yeah. So one thing that I love that I'm hearing today is from so many different perspectives, but the message is the same, the energy is the same. And so I really, you know, you brought up cooperation, and that feels like what's needed. So my perspective is obviously as a psychologist, and so that's the way that I think about these things. One of the things that comes to mind is to remember that these are children. Our frontal lobe, the part of our brain that helps us make decisions, is not developed until 25.
Right.
And so when we're going through pain, emotions like anger, worry, depression, and our brain is not developed enough to help us make decisions about what to do with all of that emotion and how to cope, we make bad decisions. And so I think part of the perspective that I have is about how do we help kids understand what to do with the trauma, what to do with the pain, what to do with the anger, so that they don't make bad decisions that ruin their lives before they have a chance to live them.
Conflict resolution.
Conflict, anger management, those types of skills. The other thing that I really think about that I want to just highlight here is that we live in an era of social media right now, so the kids are exposed to things in a way that even those of us that are on the younger side of things we're not exposed to. And so there's a desensitization to violence that we didn't have because we weren't seeing it. These kids are constantly seeing violence in the media, constant exposure, and so it doesn't hit in the same way. And so I think we also have to rehumanize each other in the way that we talk about each other, in the way that we talk to each other, in the way that we treat each other, so that we're no longer desensitized to harming one another. Those are the things I think about. Like I said, we're here, my students are here. I'm going to shout out Karima because her work is in psychological thriving and radical healing. I think it's very relevant to this. We are here to, whatever resources you all think you need, you tell us the solution, we will figure out how to make it happen. Okay, I saw 3 hands, so Dr. Dunn, tell me which one. I saw her hand first.
And I say war eagle to you.
We're talking about the children.
Your voice is soft.
We're talking about the children, and what's coming to me is that the majority of the people in this room are older than their parents. So it's not only the children we need to reach out to at this point, but their parents are they're needing education, they're needing some love, they're needing some support, especially the parents specifically of the children who did the killing. They're in need of us right now. We need to embrace them some kind of way.
I agree. And how do we do that? When will we do that? And how will we do it?
Just one last thing that I would say, like one of the people that was involved in the killing, one of that was arrested, their family was considered the have-nots, and they was treated as such. So just take that in mind. They was one of those 8-3s. They didn't live in the gate, so they got treated that way. They whole family line, not just them. You come from them, we treat you that way. So you get treated that way in the school as well. Like I said before, when they find out who you are and who your people are, it's like you're cut off. And there is a distinction between zip codes.
Since they already named the children, the family.
Right. And when you find out who they are, you're like, oh, okay. And people automatically think, well, I figured he'll do that. He come from that family. That's no surprise he come from that family. Everybody in their family messed up. They've been doing that since I was little. But they was always treated as such. So you have to take that into consideration as well. We pretty much did this to our own folks. We did this to ourselves, and we have to own that we did this to our own kids. Like, there is a separation between the zip code and where you're from. And unfortunately,
I live in all of them.
Let me say this right. I mean, if we're talking about solutions, and what you're talking about is not just a Tuskegee phenomenon. Internalized oppression is something that we as a people need to deprogram. And, you know, I suggest that we visit the emotional emancipation circles model again and institute that in this community. They were designed to help people of color deprogram from the internalized oppression. We hurt each other because we hurt people. We've been taught to hate ourselves. We've been taught to hate people that look like us. So there are ways that we need to sit in circle and figure out how we do that to each other, why we do that to each other, and heal that. That's the only way we're gonna be able to move forward.
I was kind of waiting on KG to say something from the pastor standpoint. But I say this. First of all, I have 4 kids. They're grown, but I have 10 grandchildren. And one of my grandsons who's with me all the time, I make sure when he comes to the house after school, he have a hot meal. I did my kids the same way. But I think we have to meet the whole man. And we have failed that in meeting the whole man. And KG, I'm gonna use your neighborhood that you pastor Bethel. You got friendship around you. I know what church you got around you as well. Get with the law enforcement and you control your neighborhood. Get some retired men who've been in the military who don't mind volunteering, have shifts to control the neighborhood. We're going to meet the needs of the people in that neighborhood. Whether they're senior citizens, they need to go somewhere. Because you got senior citizens who are living in fear, even in Tuskegee. You got young men who want to have no father, they're locked up. I grew up without a father, but I had uncles who stepped into play. I had men in the neighborhood who stepped into play. I ain't turned out so bad, you know. I got in trouble. But my point is, if I'm doing food, let me handle the food. If you're doing mentoring, let that person handle the mentoring. They used to have home ec. I don't think they have it now in school. They taught kids how to cook. Now I got my baby daughter. She learned how to cook, but she burned the house up several times. But my point is, we have been preaching to people, but we have not been met the whole man. And I guarantee you, every pastor around Tuskegee, out of Tuskegee, will be talking about this Sunday. But what is the solution? We need to come out of our churches. Amen. Now, we adopted the theme at New Mount Pleasant, the 3 C's. Christ-centered, Christ-oriented, community involvement. Now, all of us have our different backgrounds, but I may offend somebody when I say this here. We got to get off our ego trips. Yep. Okay? You may have a little bit more than I got. I may have a little bit more you have. But it's not about that. At the end of the day, it's who we help. Now, Doretha with me every week. We never cussed each other out. We probably got mad at each other. But she with me every day. We see people who come through our lines who are really hungry, but some are not. Those who are hungry, thank you. I've seen people literally cry because they've sold their jewelry, they've sold their golf clubs because they was oppressed. I work for Head Start, Montgomery Community Head Start. We had a child who was literally taking care of his brothers and sisters. The parent was out on drugs. If that happened in Montgomery, that's happening here.
That's right.
You got people who are literally staying on the street here in Tuskegee. We ain't gotta go to Tuskegee. But so as pastors, we put a lot on pastors. Y'all talk about it real bad. But at the end of the day, pastor, no pastor, we ought to be able to meet the whole man. Okay? Now, I tell my members, I'm not from Tuskegee. I pastor in Tuskegee, but I think I do more in Tuskegee and get paid less. Okay, so I've been all over this county, you know, and I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning, starting my next day up. The Aretha up, she sent in Texas at 4 o'clock. But my point is, we need to meet the whole man. It's not about me, it's not about you, but it's about what we can do together. Now, I made a trip to Honduras, a mission trip to Honduras. And I literally slept on the ground. The little boy, 5 years old, smoking marijuana in Honduras. If you got the girl pregnant and married her, and you got a divorce, it was like committing a crime. So my point is, and I tell people, none of us have perfect kids. I don't have any perfect kids. That's some stuff my kids did. They just not telling it. That's some stuff I did other kids. I just not tell my mama. I laugh all the time. I grew up where we had to pick peas. And then I hid some of the peas. I finally told my mama, look, I hid some of the peas. I'm grown. Because I didn't want to pick them. But my point is, things are different now. When I heard her cry, things are different now. I got a 3-year-old grandbaby. She can take that cell phone, deal with that cell phone. I was trying to get in contact with my niece today. I had to call her house and say, you got my number blocked. She said, my grandbaby blocked your number and my husband too. So my point is we got to partner together. I may be good in one area, you may be good in another area. Let's put our talent together. Let's make it happen. Okay, got a question?
I think she will.
I agree.
I agree. I didn't get it anyway.
We got one, the last one, because I promised at a quarter of, so I just want to announce, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
That was so
So initially I wanted to respond to your comment, but we've heard more and I just have a little bit more I want to respond to from what you said, Ms. Jackson, and from what you said as well. I think one point that you brought out is this phenomena of otherization, of kind of being able to look at people and make yourself seem or feel better and make other people feel worse. And that is a global phenomena. It happens in India and in every African country and in every South American country and everywhere. So it's something that we deal with here. We do have classism and other ways in which we separate ourselves. It's something that I think we should identify, but also take some pressure or blame off of ourselves in knowing, as Ms. Jackson said before, that there are a myriad of systems meant to continue to reinforce otherization. And so I think that's a little bit of pressure that we can take off of ourselves and use it as a tool to identify for thinking about how we move forward. I wanted to respond to a comment that you made, or a question that you asked Sheriff Bronson before about what role churches can play. I know that a part of this effort will be identifying our values, identifying what we want our community to look like in the future. And I talked with Dr. Dunn last night for about an hour about something I've been thinking about for years, and that's about how many churches we have in Macon County. I was astonished to know that we have, hundreds of churches, some churches with 5 to 10 members, over 200 churches, and churches in, how many?
Not anymore. There's been a lot of churches that closed during COVID.
We have different places where people are getting different messages, both Christian churches and places of other faiths. And those are places in which we can get out unified messages. And
So I always think about how do we get people to walk in the same direction if they're all hearing something different each week. So I just think about, you know, churches as a place for, I mean, a part of religion is really supposed to be getting closer to God, but it's also indoctrination in a sense of thinking of giving people a framework to think. And I think that that's a place that once we have a sense of what we want people to think and how we want people to move forward, we can use it as a place to start all preaching the same message at the same time and moving forward in consciousness together. And the last thing that I wanted to say is to your comment about wanting to support with psychology. I do run a mentoring and tutoring program, which basically means that we're in the schools every day. And right now, both the students and the teachers are experiencing trauma. My mother's a teacher. She took a mental health day, but she never takes off. She took off today. And I think that there are some immediate short-term needs for counseling, maybe even just being available for students to come to you, and also the Macon County Youth Council, we work with students, people ages 13 through 35. So if you all are available or know people who could, you know, kind of do some ad hoc counseling or therapy, or just like have, you know, office hours that people could come to you, I'd be happy to work with you on that. And then obviously our community has longer term needs too that we could identify as well. But those are my
Dr. Dunn, please forgive me. It was my intent to listen and hear. But if you would just
Please go ahead,
allow
sir.
me to look at where we are. There's a group called the Varner Group that spends a great deal of time and effort on research in the body of Christ in America. One of the things that has recently come to the realization in this post-COVID age, we are at a point in our history in America where less than 40% of the population in this country regularly attend worship, period. As opposed to 30 years ago, that number was about 70%. We've seen a major shift in the belief system in our nation. And that's one of the challenges that we're wrestling with, number one. Number two, to address what Pastor Raymond said, I concur. Each of us have been given a charge in the places where we've been planted. And our community is probably a microcosm where we have 3 churches that are literally within walking distance of each other. But we have 3 different mandates. We have 3 different burdens, if you will. Our burden at Bethel was that we knew that we needed physical resources in our community. And that's why we built a Family Life Center, to address some of those needs for our community. We did not opt to build a new church. We did not opt to remodel our physical facility, but we opted to construct a facility that would give us the flexibility to address some of these issues that we're dealing with. In 29 years of ministry at Dadeville, I've seen our community radically change. And I will say, for a point of disclosure, the family that you spoke of, they're my members. I've been burying Browns for 29 years. I intimately know about the challenges that family has gone through. The first one that I dealt with when I first came to Bethel was when one of the young men decided to play Russian roulette and discounted the round. And I was at the VA waiting on the helicopter to take him to Birmingham because they wouldn't pronounce him at the VA Medical Center. I subsequently have...
We don't have to do it all at once, but we need to put that on the table. So I'm asking you, all of you who have burning thoughts, burning ideas about what we ought to do, please email it to us. And I don't know if you all have that, but I will email you all and you all email me back. Last thing is this. We have suggested to the principal of Tim's about summer school. So we can start right now. If you have an idea to get our kids involved, Sherry Williams, Dr. Williams, has already developed a program to teach the kids about archaeology. They're going to be digging this summer. Somebody else, who's that? Michael has developed a program to teach kids how to put together the wires for technology. So they can get a job starting at $30 an hour. Most of you have stuff on your computer. Dig it up, bring it up, and let's look at it. And then we can put it together and say what we need to do. I've suggested to the sheriff, bring your man that knows something about archery. Teach the kids about archery. Teach the kids about martial arts. I'm talking about the one where they got to use their head, their spirit, and their heart in order to defend themselves. It is something that is physical. These children need to do something. One of the things my husband and I did with my daughter, that child never rested. You know why? We kept that girl going. She didn't have time to get in trouble. She didn't have time to get in trouble. And that's what you're going to have to do. We're going to have to do all of that. It is a lot of work that we're talking about. It's not going to be easy. The young people that are here now, and I thank you so much for consenting to be a part of our community, because they're bringing a set of skills, and I forgot who talked about dealing with skills. We got so many skills in this community, we almost don't have to go anywhere. Musha, Norman, they can talk about that spiritual process around and Jabal. That spiritual process, it has nothing to do with the Bible. It has something to do with the spirit of our people. Let me tell y'all something. I've been to Africa. I have been to Europe. I have been to China. I have been to all these places. But it ain't nothing like being in Tuskegee. It took me a long time to change my Alabama license to Washington, D.C. license, because I want to get my license out. Because that's how I feel about this place. And I think the same thing goes for almost everybody in this room. So I'm asking you, let's get this plan done. Think about what you can offer the kids during the summer. And let's get started. Because they're suffering, they're scared. I want to share this last thing with you. We did a survey for the 8th graders. The Tuskegee Institute Middle School survey, we did this March 2nd, 2023. We call it the sticky note process. We asked them 3 questions and they had it on a sticky note. The first one said, what do you need from the Macon County community? The majority of them said shopping places, money, another food place. That was the majority who said that. The second sticky note said, what do you worry most about your community or your neighborhood? 63% of the kids said shootouts and gun violence. And the other one that just got us is that they were afraid of being kidnapped. Can you imagine that? There's a reason that these children responded in this way. What is it? And we better find out. And the last thing was, why do you love your community? The majority of them said because of family and friends. And that almost made me cry. Because you see, that's what this is about right here. Family and friends. That's where we are, and that's what we're about. We talk about the following words: legacy, love, healing, family, and together. Those are the words I heard most in the conversations that we had today. And that's something to be proud of, because that says where our values are. When the politicians decided to be greedy in our community, I'm going to say it again. When the politicians decided to be greedy in this community and they could get that HUD money, they then built all of these 6 projects. Can you imagine in this community, 6 projects? And dropped them in the middle of a middle-class community. That was called being ugly. Then when they did that, they didn't have enough people in Tuskegee and surrounding areas to fill those communities. And then they dropped it. I used to think it was a lie. People used to tell me when I came home for Christmas, they used to say, well, you know, they just been busing these people in from all these different places around Macon County. And it's true. When I became mayor of this city, I learned so much about what was going on in the underground, I didn't know what to do. It was true. And they brought them here, and they dropped them, and never did anything else until election. And then they paid them to vote. People said, give me my thing right here, because I want you all to know that I voted so I get my $50.
Now that didn't happen in short.
That's right. That's right. That happened everywhere. The cheating's got to stop. That's what I'm talking about. And we got to hold our people accountable. Because if we don't hold our people accountable, they can do any damn thing they want to us, and we can't say nothing about it. That doesn't even make any sense. All of us college graduates, we ought to be able to say something like, where is the COVID money? Where is it? Where is it? Why do you have the problems in our community when we got $6 million coming in here? Now, we got to tell the truth. We got to tell the truth. And you all have done that this evening, and I am so grateful. So with all of that said, the youngest minister in the house, you are giving us our going away prayer. Thank you all so much. I want you all to stand up. I want you to hold hands. Because we are family. We are family.
All right, everybody got a hand?
Everybody got a hand.
All right.
Wait a minute, Guy ain't got a hand. Come on, Guy and Michael. Y'all get a hand. Jonathan, you got your hand in there? Grab Brother Lee's hand. There you go.
We got it.
We got to touch and agree. Isn't that what y'all say in the church house?
That's what we say. Let us pray. Creator God, we thank you. We thank you for this day. We thank you for not just the beginning of something, but the continuation of a process of flourishing, a process of healing, a process of restoring, a process of implementing, but a process nonetheless that we are going through together. We thank you for the spirit that speaks to our soul. We thank you for the soul that is encased with this flesh and body that we will protect. We will protect our children, we'll protect each other with your grace and with your mercy. We thank you so much for all that are here.